selves. Make sense?
Yep.
And so somebody needed to hear that. The way you buy from others is the way people are going to buy from you. So if you're being a difficult customer to somebody else, God's going to honor this, and that's where the blessings come in, where God says, I will give you so much blessing that you will have enough room to contain it. And by the grace of God, we have no lack. And yes, is there seasons where we don't sell nothing for a week or two? Of course, we're a business. But guess what? But once God opens up the floodgate, oh man, he goes back and
sometimes you have $10 months and sometimes you have $10,000 months, and both of them are a test.
Yeah.
And when it comes to character, sometimes the test is harder in success than it is in lack. God's really testing when you have that, what will you do with it? Two juxtapositions that really fascinate me. I don't remember the guy's name, but the story is that the Israelites invaded a kingdom. And when they invaded the kingdom, God said, everything they've got is tainted. Everything they have is attached to a spirit that you don't want in your camp. So bring nothing back. Slaughter and destroy everything. Don't bring any of that back into your house. There's a reason I'm telling you, don't bring it back into your house. And one guy brought the stuff back in his house, buried it under his tent. And they're like, God, we keep losing these battles. What's the story? He's like, you remember when I told you don't bring that stuff back in your house? There's a reason you don't bring it back in your house. You got to go find this guy. And so they found him. They slaughtered his entire family and they destroyed everything that he brought back. And we forget that's still true today, because that wasn't an incident, that was a principle.
Yeah.
And we take that same principle of stewardship of, well, yeah, you could go get the wealth. You could go get the things. I don't care if it's a goat or a gold goblet. If you bring that thing back into your possession that was never meant to be yours, it's not blessed, it's cursed. And that's going to cost you. Then you got the guy that Jesus encountered at the well, at the pool. And he's like, so, you like it here, huh? Guy's like, no, but I've got 5,000 excuses why I haven't taken action on the information that I've been given. 5,000 excuses for why I've been laying here for 37 years. And Jesus is like, look, it's really not that complicated. Do you want to get up? Well, do you want to be well? Are you willing to do what it takes to get to the next level? If you are, it's as simple as this. No one wants to believe that. They're like, well, I've heard, and then you gotta do this, and you gotta follow this person, you gotta go do this pattern, and you gotta, submit to this thing, and you gotta deal with this kind of people, and if I do all those things, then I'll get successful, and I don't know I want to be successful that bad. And Jesus said to the man, do you want to be well? Get up, take your mat, and leave. It's as complicated as believing that I'm not lying to you. It's as complicated as trusting that the God of the universe is encountering you right now. And that's the price most people are not willing to pay.
Well, so that's a business principle right there. So in business, two things happen. J Loren has this amazing studio here that we're at in Granbury, Texas. J Loren's doing one of two things. He's inspiring the aspiring. Wow, if God did it for him, he could do it for me, right? You're inspiring those people. Half of the people that are seeing your growth and your success for you and your wife. The other half, you're reminding them of the work, like that man at the pool that doesn't, right? You're reminding him of the work he didn't do and he wasn't willing to do, or he lacked the faith to believe it for himself. And those are sometimes the most dangerous people. Why? Because those are the people that become jealous and they become envious of your success. So these people are over here, you're inspiring the aspiring, they're clapping for you, and they really mean well for J Loren, which is great. It's the ones that in the beginning they used to clap for you a little bit, but then, but then you really start winning, and every day you're reminding them of what they're not willing to do. But they want what you have, J Loren, without doing the work.
Or
and
worse. Somebody
out there,
yeah.
Be careful. Be careful. You got to use wisdom. Who's around you? Because many people, maybe they're seeing your success as you're watching this amazing episode with me and J Loren, and you're like, man, what happened to this person? They switched up on me because they got to the point where now your success, right, was higher than theirs, and now they're real jealous and envious. And there's a scripture in the Bible in the book of Proverbs that says, anger's bad, right? Anger's not a good dude. But jealousy is more dangerous. Think about that.
And they'll sabotage you.
Think about that. Think about that for a moment, right? Like people, jealousy hinders and hurts so many entrepreneurs and business owners, and they don't even realize it. For the Bible say that anger is dangerous, rage is dangerous, but jealousy is even more dangerous, more potent. And people walk around and they have a jealous tongue. They slander other entrepreneurs, other speakers, other coaches, other businesses. And that's the worst thing you can do, because all you're really doing is you're cursing yourself. And God can't bless that. God won't bless that. And yes, you might have you'll be the radish. A radish goes full bloom in 6 to 8 weeks. But then it dies. You don't want to be a radish. You want to be that mighty oak that lives for hundreds of years.
Well, and beyond that, we forget that jealousy is not just an emotion we experience in a moment. It's a spiritual condition. And it's a violation of the Ten Commandments. Don't envy. Don't covet. Right? And so when we're living that way, we're living in the covetousness of the nature of the flesh. And it's amazing, but it can be in sibling rivalry. I know of people who went through a divorce because spouse A put spouse B through all their medical training, or they're getting their law degree, or getting that master's degree or that PhD, and now they're the one making all the money. And the one who stayed home all the time to make that possible, the one who worked 50 hours a week to make that possible, is now looking at it going, well, you're making 8 figures, that's awesome, but I feel like I've been left behind. Like, well, you don't measure up to my standards now because I'm making so much more money than I was when I met you. And it's an odd dichotomy, but it's jealousy within the relationship, not of another relationship, but jealousy of success because there was never camaraderie. In fact, I asked my wife on the drive to Milwaukee, so it's only been not even a full week ago, I said, when we got married, Labor Day will be 32 years for us. I said, when we got married 32 years ago, is this what you thought your life would be? She's like, no, with a little giggle. And I'm like, I'm not even sure what that means. I said, okay, well then what did you think it would be? I don't know, but I didn't think it would be this. And it's fascinating to think of all the things that we've been through. Because I was in Fortune 50 corporate America. I worked 4 or 5 jobs at the same time for a season so she could stay home and homeschool. We've been, in the first 5 years of our marriage, 9 moves, 13 jobs. And
9 moves, 13 jobs, is that what you said?
Yes, in the first 5 years of our marriage, and 3 kids.
And she still stayed married with you?
And she's still here, right? So
she loves you.
Or she's crazy, or both, right? So the looking at so many relationships, though, that much turmoil, that much transformation, that much transition would have been more than they can handle. The reason it works is assignment. We have a mutual assignment. We are clear on what that assignment is. Transforming stories, transforming lives. It's printed on the side of our trailer, it's printed on our business cards, it's printed on our flags, it's printed on the cover of our books. Our job is to transform stories in people's lives. I once was blind and now I see. And that transforms lives. That's our job. Get as many people into heaven as we can. Building the business around that. Someone said in a message today, and I really got to keep processing it because it's hard to hear, but it's true. He said, understand when Jesus was on the mountain with 5,000, and they said, they don't want to go away, but they're hungry. What he didn't do was say, somebody bring me a gold coin, let me make more gold coins so we can go buy food. He did not do that. He didn't do a charity fundraiser. He didn't pass an offering plate. He said 2 things that are profound, and they're contrasting and braided together at the same time. He said, bring me what you have. Watch what I do with what you have. He said the same thing to Moses. It's like, what do you got in your hand? A stick? Yeah. Watch what I can do with your stick. Watch what I can do with the fish and the loaves. The other thing he did, though, was he multiplied what they have, and he provided the sustenance necessary. Not the gold, not the glitz, not the glamour. There's a little guy that we watch on Facebook. I just turned my wife on.
I want to say something to that, though, because there's a lot of wisdom in that. The mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make they don't look at what's in their hand. They look at what's in J Loren's hand.
Yeah.
They look at what's in her hands. They look at what's in his hands. And for the simple fact that you're focused on the wrong hands, you're not even focused on what God's given you because you're too blind to see it. Diluted focus gives you diluted results. And many people have diluted focus because they're focused so much on what's in your hands instead of in their own hands that they already have. They can't even see it. And then the second thing that you said is multiplication. Think about this. I'm gonna write this in my next book. It's a new book coming out in reference to money. And if you look at your fingernails, do you wake up in the morning and say, grow fingernails?
No, I usually yell at them for breaking.
I don't think your wife or my wife does that. Why do I say that? Because the Word of God says that we're made in the image and likeness of God. It's biblical, which we are. So the very fact that when we wake up and we look at our nails, and our nails are multiplying millions and millions of cells every day, and they grow on their own, that's the very nature and character of God, right? The very nature and character of God. And when you get this revelation, and not you just get this revelation, but you apply it and you believe it, right? Because according to your faith, according to my faith, according to everybody's faith, be it done unto you. But when you accept the reality that we serve the God of multiplication, and when we look at our nails, I don't tell my nails, grow nails. No, they multiply on their own because it's the very nature and character of God.
So let me take that one step deeper too, because
Right.
I don't want people to misunderstand what you said. According to your faith.
Yeah.
According to your faith is what you receive. A lot of people think their faith limits God. See, by your faith, you cannot change the length of your life. That's what he said. You can't add 1 hour, one breath to your own life. That's his choice. But the magnitude of God's ability in our life is not limited by our faith, but our receiving what he's capable of doing in our life is limited. And that's what he said, by little faith. I mean, when he came walking across the water, the guys in the boat went, is that a ghost? I mean, who is he? He's like, dude, come on. How much time do I have to be with you? I've been telling you all along that this is just natural for me because I'm super natural. I'm way beyond your natural. Yeah. And Peter was like, well, if you can do it, let me do it. Yeah. And Peter stepped out of the boat. There was never a point that Jesus' ability for Peter to walk on the water failed. Yeah. Peter only received what Peter was willing to believe. And the minute Peter doubted God's ability didn't change, just his ability to receive it. And I think there are a lot of people that look at faith, the substance of things hoped for and not yet seen, as the mechanism whereby God's ability is controlled. It is not. Our ability to perceive it and receive it is the dial on the backside of our faith.
Well, think about that. If you don't believe God is the God of multiplication, then you're never going to have the...
That doesn't stop him from being the God of multiplication. It just means you don't get it.
You don't get it.
Because he's still multiplying.
Yeah, but to my point exactly, that's why there's businesses out there struggling.
Well, and they're looking at their fingernails going, well, those are getting longer. My bank account's not getting any deeper. And he's like, well, are you believing me for fingernails or are you believing me for bank accounts?
Well, it's the fact of his identity of El Shaddai that he's the God of multiplication, that he has the ability to do it. And the thing is when you let go and you truly trust God and you realize like, man, you know, God, okay, you are the God of multiplication. Show me. He's going to show you. There's things in your business that you already have, and you don't have the right perspective, the right mindset, so you're missing out on the blessing because it's not that. Put it this way: what kind of car do you drive right now?
A 96 Ford van and an old Volvo.
A Volvo, right? And when you bought that Volvo, what do you see? What did you see everywhere? The Volvo,
yeah.
Right? Because the paradigm shifted, the perspective shifted. It's the same thing. When you think in lack and scarcity and you think in addition, then all you see is no opportunity. But once you shift that into, wow, okay, God's the God of increase and multiplication, the opportunity is always there. You just change your mindset. And that's a big part of the makings of a millionaire mind is I'll give you an example. I guarantee you, the way we opened up the show was, man, Daniel, thank you for driving 4.5 hours. How many people have you invited, or how many people said, man, I would love to go to J Loren's, but I got to drive, I got to spend $120 in gas. They think of the cost instead of the investment and the friendship and the investment in the relationship, like we were talking
Or
about.
people who live 20 minutes from here who won't make the drive, and yet people who will fly in on a plane and then make the drive from the airport to come down here.
Because
it's fascinating, the contrast.
Because they think in addition and they think in scarcity and lack.
I had one guy that came from he came from D.C. to be here, and met with a guy who drove up from San Antonio, Mayor Blanco.
Yeah, and I mean, but think about that. But that's, people say, oh, business is slow. It's only slow because of your thinking. It's only slow because of your perception. Change your mind, change your mindset, change your life.
So, James, I think it's 1:4, or maybe it's 4:1. It's in the book of James. You can look it up. He says, "You have not because you ask not, and when you ask amiss." He goes on later in the same chapter to say, "Where do fights and quarrels come from? From the things that you want, but you can't get them." So that's back to that jealousy. So how does that fit in your building a life of abundance and wealth mindset? How does the millionaire mind fit with that? You have not because you ask not, or you fight and quarrel because you don't get what you want. How do those work together?
Well, it goes, when you realize that we have an abundance. See, the mistake, I'll give it in simple terms. We'll talk about pizza. Right?
Okay.
A pizza has 8 slices. And the mistake is a lot of people have pizza mentality, and it's not biblical, right? So the pizza mentality is there's only 8 slices in the whole marketplace, and once those 8 slices are gone, there's no more, which is a lie.
No more pizza.
And the thing is, the jealousy comes in because, well, hey, like, J Loren already ate 2 slices of pizza. What about my slice, right? I haven't had a slice yet. And then you go get another third one, and now they're even more jealous, more envious. What about me? Well, who says that there's a limited amount of slices of pizza? Because the truth is there's an abundance out there, and there's more than enough. And when you realize that there's no reason to be jealous at anybody, because the truth is this, is that there's so much opportunity out there, but we lack the creativity, because most people, right, when you have a scarcity mindset, your energy is lower. You have, right, you think in worry, you think in doubt, you think in anxiety, and that energy level is down here. Everything you want in the creativity level, you have joy, you have gratitude, you have love, you have generosity, that's up here. So it's 2 different highways. So you could be going 100 miles an hour, right? We'll just say 35 south comes up here, and I came on 281. If you are on 281 south, I mean on 281 north, and I'm going 100 miles an hour, I'm going to get to you because that's the highway you're on. But if I'm going 100 miles an hour on IH-35 with the scarcity lack mentality, no matter how fast you go, you're never going to get the result you want because you're operating the wrong energy, which is the fear, the doubt, the worry, the jealousy, the envy. It doesn't work that way. And you stay stuck in that loop of thinking and life, and you never go to the next level because God can't honor that. You're on the wrong energy field. So the truth is this. It's not a pizza mentality. The truth is that when the same way that God has an abundance of everything, when you start trusting, right? The trust factor is when you get $1, you give a dime, and then you say like, man, and then you start enjoying what you have. Most people don't enjoy their success. Most people don't enjoy their money. They don't enjoy their wealth. Oh, I gotta, the very, right? Somebody has a studio like this, and instead of saying, God, thank you for the studio, I love my studio, oh man, I gotta pay this, I gotta pay that. Now they start complaining and they start cursing themselves. You have to realize your words have power. Your words create your future. Your words, somebody needs to write this down, your words are spirit. So as you speak this, you're creating your future self, your future life, your future result. But the very thing that you prayed for, now you're complaining about and you're cursing yourself. And it's the wrong approach to have. So in the book, I talk about the journey of becoming. Who do you have to become? What I didn't write the book from theory. I didn't write the book from, no, it's experiences that I went through to kill the old Daniel. See, everybody wants the new life. Everybody wants the new. But in order to have the new, there must be a death to the old. And most people don't want to put a death to the old is the bottom line.
No fruit grows until the seed dies.
Yeah.
And that's that same question.
You can't have both.
Well.
You can't have both.
Yeah.
And right, so to have the new, you have to kill the old you. I know that's pretty graphic, right? But you have to kill the old you, the old habits, the old thought processes, the old way of thinking like an employee if you're a business owner. The question I want to ask your audience is, what do you need to kill? What is that old identity that you need to kill, and what are the old habits you need to let go of?
So I met a homeless guy in Atlanta. I was speaking there several years ago, and he said, "Hey, could you give me $5 for lunch?" And I said, "I could. What are you gonna do with $5?" He said, "I'm gonna go down here to the Bag of Burgers and buy a bag of burgers for $5." I said, "You can eat all 5 of them?" He goes, No. I live in a homeless camp outside the edge of town. There's 3 of us, so I can buy 5 burgers. We can split those up and have a good meal." I said, "What if I gave you 20?" He said, "Well, there's 3 of us in our tent, but I could feed pretty much the whole camp for $20." I said, "What if I gave you 50?" He said, "Well, I don't know that many hungry people." Huh. I said, "So it doesn't matter how much I give you, you're just going to eat it?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You ever eat sunflower seeds?" He said, "Yeah." "How about pumpkin seeds?" "Yeah." I said, "You ever thought about just planting those and wait for the pumpkins to grow? Because there's a whole lot more food in a pumpkin patch than there is in a handful of pumpkin seeds." And his face just lit up. He's like, "Yeah, but what does that have to do with my $5?" So if I gave you 50 and you bought $20 worth of hamburgers and fed your friends, that's laudable. If you took the other 30 and stuffed it in a mattress, stuffed it in your shoe, and held on to it, how long before you'd have a car? How long before you'd have a job? How long before you'd have a home again? How long before your life? But you got to plant that seed somewhere. I don't care if you buy a fraction of a Bitcoin with it or you invest it in somebody else's car wash idea. But if all you do is eat your seeds, you will never have an orchard. And I think there are a whole lot of people, whether it's the way they manage their finances or the way they steward their relationships or the way they steward their talent or the way they steward their assignment, they don't know what they're here for. Most of the people that I work on stories with, we get into the granular level. Why did you use that word? What do you mean? Well, if I read that sentence and I change that word to this word, it means an entirely different thing. Ooh. Yeah. And are you writing for the eye or are you writing for the ear? Are you writing for you to feel better or are you writing to change the lives of people who are going to hear you? And if I, like we discussed before we went live, if it's in your book and I ask you about it on a podcast, is it so ingrained in you that it's not just something that a good editor or a good AI or a good ghostwriter shoved in the book because it makes good sense with the whole context, but have you lived it out? Yeah. There's a whole acrostic in the Storypower training that says, learn to roar, be relevant, have ownership, speak with authority, and be responsible for how people feel when you're done. And if the story you're crafting doesn't make it past that grid, find another story or keep working on you until it does. Yeah. And the Storypower grid is 19 columns now that qualify your story. And when you get all those check boxes done, people are like, holy cow, that was like 45 seconds of therapy. My life is completely different because I heard you say that. And I'm like, that's what every story that we tell should be. Matthew, I think it's 13:35, says Jesus never taught that he didn't tell stories. Yeah. So the power of the story well crafted, that's what most people miss. The power of the story is a millionaire tool. I don't disagree with you. But the power of the story well crafted is the power to transform lives. Yeah. And so many people get lazy about that. They don't want to ask that question, do you want to be well? Are you willing to pay the price that it takes to be well? Because that's the second half of the same question.
Well, think about this. We were just in Milwaukee and it was a 3-day event we were at, and nobody really knew me. They didn't sell any books on Wednesday. They didn't sell any books on, I think I sold 1 book on Thursday. But once I got on stage and I shared my story, J Loren, everything changed. Yeah. They went from not just buying books, but buying 3 books and buying other services and products. And why? Because when you speak from your heart and they hear your story, your heart connects with their heart.
Yeah.
And that's the part that people miss is that when you speak from your heart, when you speak from the Spirit of God from within you, and guess what? Now they hear your values, they hear what's important to you. And that's what a lot of people need to understand, is that don't be ashamed of your story. Don't be feel that condemn yourself in your story. But a lot of people, they condemn themselves. And then think about this. When I shot myself, right? I tried to kill myself when I was 18 years old. And yes, I lived, I'm here. But my senior year, I took a gun and wanted to end my life. And for many years, I drank my sorrow, right? I coped with the pain. And then one day God says, Daniel, when are you going to take that scar and stop looking at that scar? Because my scar goes from the top of my chest to the bottom of my abdomen. Stop seeing it as a scar of shame, but see it as a scar of my grace. And when I shifted that perspective of my own scar, I should be dead. 4 hours before I got to the hospital, 4 hours before the ambulance got me there, 4 hours. What are the odds of somebody being shot, whether you did it yourself, self-inflicted, or somebody shot you, lasting 4 hours? It's rare. But by God's grace, when God said, stop looking at your scar as a scar of shame and look at it as a scar of my grace. There's many people watching this episode right now, and they're ashamed, they're in condemnation, they're in guilt. And no, stop looking at the scars that you've been through and look at what God's grace got me through. And when you find the grace and you're like, wow, there's a blessing in that. Because I don't know about you, but I have a saying, and I don't know whose quote it is, but it's a bad attitude's like a flat tire. It gets you nowhere. So if I'm in my self-pity and I have a bad attitude, it's going to take me nowhere in life. Because then we play the victim mentality. Oh, my business is slow. Oh, look at me. And we blame others. We justify. We make excuses. All this stuff comes out of that. No, like, you know what, God? Thank you for the opportunity to go to Milwaukee. Thank you, God, that I got a chance to connect with J Loren. Thank you, God, that I got a chance to spend $120 to drive up here to Granbury in Dallas and spend time with. That's a different perspective, because now there's the grace factor. And when you change the lens, right? Wayne Dyer said that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And people don't want to change the way they look at things. They want a different result with the same lens, and it doesn't work that way. In life or in business. And many people are struggling in business because they're using the old lens, and you got to change the lens and see it through a lens of God's grace. Okay, God, you brought me here. Allow me to see what you want me to see. Don't see it through your physical eye, through your human eye. Help me see it through your eyes of faith. Think about this beautiful studio. When you first came here, it didn't look like this. You had to see the vision of where God was taking you to. And look at how amazing it is.
God's done amazing things, and He's given us incredible opportunities. And you know, I don't take it lightly when I say we have a mission, we have an assignment, transforming stories and transforming lives. And
master the Storypower method to captivate your audience, improve workplace culture, and 10x your fundraising.
Scan the QR code to book your first coaching call or visit storypowercoach.com.
Hi, my name is Christina Knowles, and I just got done taking J Loren's Storypower Masterclass. It was amazing. I took away so much information. One of the things that I really enjoyed being formally trained in media many years ago is the call to action. I will use that with every speaking engagement, and I'm so grateful that Loren just spoke truth into his teachings, and he is a true professional. And I know this might sound weird, but I've been taking certifications in different classes over the years, and Lauren is not boring. I can't even believe I got here at 9, and then the class went by so fast that I was like, it's time to go already? And I was shocked that it was time to go already. So it's an awesome class. You're going to enjoy it, I promise.